Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad, and good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lovely to talk. You me funny lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore!
Hey, Brad, how you going? Sorry, I got my son in here. He just woke up. So you got
Hey, little cameo.
It's a two-part interview.
Yeah. Man, how's it feel though? You know, you've obviously been through this before, getting a film from soup to nuts and out to the people. But when you finally gets out there, does it feel like a I don't know, what would you say the feeling is once you finally say this is the final cut, it's done, I'm sending it to everybody?
The only feeling I can equate it to is having a child and sending him or her to the first day of school. You're proud, you're excited, you've created like this little minor miracle in your head, and you're so scared. You're like, please, everybody, treat them gently. Do you know what I mean? But also, like with this one, I'm quite proud. Like it's exactly the film I wanted to make. I was really happy with every single creative department's input on this one. I think we all worked really, really well. And so it's like sending a beautiful, very physically fit child to school. So I'm like, hey man, it's all good. I think we're going to be okay here, you know? So yeah, it's a good feeling, you know, especially after so many years of work, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so would you say this is the first time you've had that exact experience to where, because I mean, look, there's so many factors that are outside of your control, right? When you're working on a film set. I mean, the performances, every creative department, like you said before, I mean, is this the first time you felt like everything clicked and you made the movie that was in your head?
No, this is more the second time. The first film I made was a film called Wyrmwood, which was sort of Mad Max meets Dawn of the Dead. And so my brother and I financed that film ourselves. And so we called all the shots creatively and made exactly what we wanted. And it was quite successful. So to have that feeling of making something special that is close to you, but also you're not answering to anybody, and then have it be, well received. That was great. And one of the great things about, this producer I've been working with, Blake Northfield, is he's very much like working with my brother as a producer in that he takes care of the production, makes sure we've got the financing, keeps everything together, but just steps out of the way creatively. So he's okay with me just, making my vision. And so, yeah, this was the first film in a while where it felt like that first time, and it's a good feeling.
So when you are about to go into production and you're getting everything together, what's the best way that you use to visualize the story that you want to tell? I mean, do you like the storyboarding? Do you lay it all out? My favorite story is Bob Gale and Bob Zemeckis, who did Back to the Future. They had it all on note cards, written out every beat of the story of how they wanted it to go. What does your process look like pre-production?
Yeah, well, I'm a writer-director, and I worked, for a while as a cartoonist, so I can also draw. So I'm very much in the story, not just as a director, but, you know, as a sort of creative from the ground up. So I'm very attached to the story, first of all, you know, because I do multiple drafts and the thing comes out of here. And the storyboarding, I adore that process. I love to just sit down and do panel after panel. So particularly when it comes to the action set pieces, you know, what you see is what I've storyboarded very, very carefully. And it's also one of the ways that, you know, you can shoot fast and get really good results on an independent budget, because I can't go over I can't go over time, and I've got a very specific small amount of production time. We only had 5 weeks in that tank, and if I couldn't tell the entire epic story of, you know, this war and this shark and, you know, it's a period piece and like all this stuff, you know, it's just like I didn't have time to muck around. So with those action set pieces, we stick very closely to the storyboards. And I do love storyboarding, you know, but all the other dramatic stuff, you know, you can kind of just make it up as you go, and you can get very, you know, creative with the blocking and all of that kind of stuff. But with the action, you can't improvise when you're dealing with a 1-ton animatronic shark. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you can't just go, let's just try something. It's like, no. It only does like 5 things. So like we have to stick to the script.
Yeah, we need to be very specific. It's like it's a measure twice, cut once scenario, right? Of like you have to make sure that you nail it when you're out there and doing it. Now,
that's a good analogy. You're like a tailor. Like if you don't measure correctly, one pants leg is not going to fit. So yeah, you got to get it right.
Okay, I like that. You're like a tailor. That's 100% true. But you know, I find that when you write and direct, your writers fall in love with the story and the words that they put on the paper, as well they should. You've sweat over several drafts. But sometimes when you're a director, when they get the screenplay and they get on set or they start storyboarding or whatever the case might be, something that was on the page might not actually work when it comes time to do the filming. Is it hard to divorce yourself from the writing and the creative aspect into the directing and seeing like, hey, we're just gonna have to throw this part out. This scene that I loved when I wrote it, it just doesn't fit now.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important skills that a director needs to foster is the ability to turn on a dime and change things if they have to. I mean, sometimes just doing that makes it fresher and more interesting for everybody. But oftentimes, and especially on this one, because we were shooting on water, and oftentimes like I had an idea of where I wanted the camera and how I wanted things to be, and when you get there you're like, oh man, like this is so restrictive. Like, you know, we're floating in the middle of this giant tank. These guys can't really move. The camera person can only do 2 or 3 things. The crane wasn't working or whatever. And it's like, okay, I have to rethink everything about how this scene is going to be shot. And you just have to do that very quickly. And you have to make decisions very quickly. And, you know, you have to get the actors on board and all of that kind of stuff. Rethink everything, change everything, action, go. And oftentimes, if you know what you're doing, it's exciting because you're like, oh my God, this is not at all how I pictured it, but it's fresh and it's interesting and it's different. And, you know, that kind of stuff sometimes can end up being the best bits in the movie, you know?
So from the draft of the screenplay that you go with to shooting the movie to then being in the edit and finishing the product, you said it was the movie that you wanted to make in your head, but did it change drastically during each step of that process?
It did, and it should. You know, I mean, like weirdly, the movies that where you can't do that as much are the ones that come out a little bit skew-if. Like the creative process should be a bunch of artists coming together and feeling it out. And if I want to make a change, I shouldn't have to go to the studio and wait 24 hours before I get approval to make a change. And one of the great things about this and my first film was all of us could just get on set and just go, okay, here's how we planned it. But like, what if we did this and we can just, you know, really change it and make it organic, you know? So, you know, the idea that we could just come on set and sometimes just make it up as we go along if we felt like we needed to do that. There's a creative freedom to that. And I think the best work comes out of that, you know?
Obviously, I'm sure people have talked to you about this before, especially with this film, but, you know, Spielberg famously said, you know, working on the water is difficult.
Yes.
You've kind of alluded to that before. I've also heard period pieces are difficult. Working with animatronics is difficult.
Yeah. It's funny. I made a film a couple of years ago called Sting about a giant spider, and there were children, animals, animatronics.
All the things you're not supposed to work with.
All the things you're not supposed to work with. And on this one, we went even further, where we had a giant 1-ton animatronic shark swimming around in a huge, tank, a water tank. And yes, it was very difficult. And it was a period piece, but I just lucked out. We had a costume designer, Tracy Rose, who just has warehouses full of all the things we needed, not just costumes, but props and all of that kind of stuff. And she just bought all of that, and we were just ready to go. With the water, Spielberg was shooting, on Martha's Vineyard, kind of on the open ocean, which is 1,000 times more difficult than working in a controlled environment in a tank, which is what we had. So yes, it was very difficult and, kind of dangerous sometimes, and it slows everything down and restricts what you can do. But we were working in a studio tank, so it was to a degree controlled. It wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. We just made sure we cast very strong swimmers. The lead, Mark Cole-Smith, is a free diver, so he can dive down 10 meters and he can hold his breath for like 3.5 minutes. So we were lucky to get him, and we had a stunt team and a crew who were really, really safety conscious and great. And when we needed things to work, they worked. The shark was impossibly difficult to build and test, and all of that stuff was a nightmare. But like when the shark turned up and we dropped this huge, sort of 1-ton fish into the into the water, the cinema gods just smiled, and like everything we needed to do, it just did, and it seemed like somebody up there wanted this film to get made, because we didn't go over budget and everything we needed to work worked. So
that's amazing.
It was a good experience.
A rare treat in filmmaking. My final question for you, and I want to be respectful of your time, but I always want to know this from a filmmaker's perspective. Being in a period piece, what are the challenges and conveniences of working within that?
The challenges become more difficult when you're shooting in the city, and you've got to have correct backgrounds and cars and like just a million extras and all that kind of stuff. I was lucky in that I'm making a film that starts in boot camp, and then it's just basically 7 guys stuck on a raft for 70 minutes. So it was mostly just a question of costume and a few props. The thing I love about period is it immediately turns it into a semi-fantasy world. I don't have to worry about mobile phones or, really modern politics or any of that crap. Like I can just tell the story as if it happened 1,000 years ago, whether it's 70 years ago, 100 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, it feels like a different world. So it turns into this wonderful kind of narrative metaphor. This is my first period film, and I loved it. And my next film is going to be a period film. And like, I get it now. Like, filmmakers like Robert Eggers are like, I'm never going to make a film set in modern context. I'm like, I kind of get that. I kind of want to do it every time now. I really loved it.
Oh, well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time today, Kiah. Congrats again on the film. I can't wait to see the next period piece.
Thank you so much, Brad. I've really enjoyed this one.